Well, hello people, welcome to the next Senpai. It is an emotional story from the perspective of a weak main character who is underestimated by the people around him, after being transferred to another world with the hope of becoming the strongest hero with the blessings power of the gods, but he is kicked out because he is considered weak stats and useless in battle. Through a difficult journey, he manages to rise from his despair and prove to everyone who once underestimated him to come back stronger and becoming true heroes in another world. Keeping watching this video and stay awesome. Let's go! The story follows Toka Mimori, a weak young man who is summoned to a fantasy world along with his entire class to be assigned as the next hero. The gap begins to show when Toka is looked down upon by his superpowered friends because he only has an abnormal skill, worthless in battle against monsters. The summoning god and his friends do not hesitate to cast Toka into the depths of the Valley of Death, branding him a failed hero. Just like the turning point in Arifureta, the main character reveals his true strength after being kicked for being weak and struggling against death while being attacked by abyss monsters. With new skills and unstoppable status power-ups, Toka begins to rise to prominence, embarking on a dark revenge quest against everyone who underestimated him, especially the arrogant summoning goddess. Many aspects of this anime need improvement, which is a shame given the manga's overall intriguing potential. This adaptation's dark story is its main draw to engage the audience, but it feels rushed and poorly executed. A story about a former hero who wants to retire and live a peaceful life without any obstacles. That's the brief premise of the banished former hero lives as he pleases, with a main character design which resembles like Uchiha Sasuke, but dominates with his naivety. The story begins with Alan Westfeld, a legendary hero in his previous life who is reborn as a useless nobleman due to his low status and lack of divine power. They didn't think twice about expelling Alan, stripping him of his noble status, and banishing him from the Westfeld Duchy. Rather than complaining or dwelling on his misfortune, Alan saw it as an opportunity to build his dream of living peacefully in a remote village and leading to building a slow-living life without any problems. Everything changed when during his journey, he tried to save a beautiful girl from an attack by strange monsters. As a former hero still possessing extraordinary powers from his past life, Alan couldn't ignore someone in need, especially since she was his former fiancée who was in despair. This anime attracts attention with its visual approach, which resembles mainstream Japanese animation. It features a lighthearted story and fantasy battles filled with bombastic visual effects. The story centers on Yuan Ding, an otaku accidentally transported to a fantasy world of sword and magic. After being bullied and failing the entrance exam to Shoya Academy due to his weak natural abilities, he has nothing left to live for now anyway, and chooses an unconventional path as a gardener. There he discovers a magical fairy seed that sets him on a journey to collect legendary fairies. This journey leads him to extraordinary magical powers and changes his fate as the destined hero of this new world. This premise promises a combination of action, strategy, and humor stemming from the main character's innocent nature, which creates awkwardness when the fairies have been bound by contracts to serve their master. Released in 2022, this anime offers an exciting adventure with charismatic main characters and a unique battle system similar to solo leveling. For everyone who wants to try something different from Japanese productions, this donghua provides a new experience with consistent quality and delivers satisfaction that exceeds expectations at the end of each episode. Follow Antlin, an ordinary young man whose life changes drastically after meeting a powerful practitioner. He is given the war god system and sent to the spiritual world to cultivate. Feeling confident about his cultivation legend privileges, Antlin also enters a magic school. But his expectations were not as easy as he thought they would be. Everyone humiliated him because of his low ability level, and his family with the strongest connections considered him a joke. A game changer comes when the newbie cultivator Antlin comes back and successfully uses the system's power to boost his abilities multiple times effortlessly. With optimism and quick thinking, he begins to form friendships and embarks on a journey to prove himself as the next legendary cultivator. The story begins with Banaza, a simple merchant from the capital city of Paluma, who is suddenly summoned to the Clyrode Kingdom in another world as a potential hero to defeat the Dark Army led by the Dark One. Unfortunately, Banaza has no special abilities, no magic, no combat skills, and weak stats at level 1. has no way to return to his old world, so they decide to exile Banaza to a dangerous forest filled with wild monsters. In his efforts to survive, he manages to reach level 2 and unlock another unlimited superpower that he now has no idea what to do with. To avoid the kingdom's attention, he decides to change his appearance and goes by the name Philo. He plans to start a new life and build a peace, but is confronted by Fenris, a young demi-human girl in the form of a powerful monstrous wolf. But eventually, she submits and swears absolute loyalty after witnessing Philo's extraordinary power. The dynamic of Philo and Fenris pretending to be a married couple adds a refreshing touch of humor to the mainstream premise. In his second life, the main character in this anime experiences a tragic fate. His parents abandoned him at birth because he has low magical abilities. This is merely a technical misunderstanding of an outdated evaluation method that has not kept pace with the advancement of the times. Believing their child to be a tremendous failure and a disgrace to the kingdom, Haruto's parents deliberately abandoned him in the forest without regard for his safety. Using various means to survive, the abandoned prince managed to defeat Flay, a powerful Fenrir who had intended to attack him, and finally decided to become Haruto's loyal servant. Several years passed, and the Zenfis family adopted Haruto. He secretly strengthened his barrier magic and improved with the magnificent method. With his lazy nature, everyone around him sees him as weak, and he feels more comfortable and safe when he is in that mindset. But it is impossible for him to live without worrying about the ongoing royal conflict, with demons trying to destroy his family's peace. It is an isekai anime that touches on the issue of body shaming through the inspiring perspective of a resilient and never-give-up main protagonist. Starting from a strange call claiming to be from an entity from another world that hacks the school intercom and tells them to get ready to be summoned to another world to become heroes who will defeat the Demon King. Seiichi Hiragi, an overweight teenager who frequently faces bullying and intimidation at school, is sent last. Even the gods refuse to grant him special abilities like his classmates. Separated from his classmates who live comfortably and safely, Seiichi must survive in a forest filled with wild monster. And finally, get him out of this whole mess after find the fruit evolution. This fruit transforms his fate into a strong and handsome figure, opening the door to an exciting adventure with his natural innate kindness without any traces of revenge, and meets new friends who continue to always support him. Additionally, the main appeal of this anime lies in the comedy seamlessly woven into the tense battles, making it an entertaining and unforgettable experience. This series offers a fresh take on the mainstream isekai genre by overturning common tropes, using the perspective of an unattractive main character and showcasing his extraordinary natural powers, which often lead to entertaining comedy. Makoto Misumi, an ordinary high school student, is summoned to a fantasy world called Elysian to become a hero in another world. However, the goddess of that world judges his ugly appearance and banishes him to the fantasy world without any tools or skills to survive. Out of pity, he is blessed with extraordinary power by Tsukuyomi, the god of the moon, and Makoto begins a new adventure, building a community with non-human races like orcas and dragon. With his overpowered strength often leading to comedic situations, he strives to create a world where all creatures can live in harmonious coexistence while facing prejudice from human society. This anime is ideal for viewers who enjoy stories about overpowered protagonists and thrilling action with a dark twist, but still maintain a light-hearted tone. This anime, adapted from a light novel by Ryo Shirakome, is famous for its eccentric concept of revenge and betrayal to develop the protagonist from zero to hero. It begins with the story of Hajime Nagumo and his classmates, who are transferred to a fantasy world as the next heroes and blessed with unique powers. However, Hajime faces social exclusion due to his perceived inadequacies in combat skills. Eventually, he is betrayed by his villainous compatriots and trapped in a dangerous labyrinth. When his fate hangs in the balance, Nagumo hones his natural abilities as a synergist to perfection, creating various futuristic weapons and become an unbeatable anti-hero. After mutating into a hybrid monster, the arrogant Nagumo, driven by revenge, and finally finds peace after meeting new allies who trust him and fulfilling his plan to return to his original home. Despite a mixed-feeling response in the first season, Arifureta proved its quality in the second season, where Nagumo and his allies clash with the god's true apostle army, showcasing intense isekai battles of high quality. A typical 20-year-old teenager is suddenly transferred into a fantasy world as the shield hero, but is instead mocked, slandered, and betrayed by everyone. This series of tragic events drives the show's success in its first season, attracting a massive following of new global audiences. Through Naofumi's emotional journey, who was once an innocent man fascinated by the otaku world before switching to the barbarian armor, his sharp green eyes often hint at cynicism, a reflection of the emotional wounds he suffered after the princess falsely accused him of committing an obscene act, seized his wealth, and made him hated by all people in the Melramar kingdom. Armed with the legendary shield which lacks direct offensive abilities, he strives to appear aggressive and struggles against the disaster waves, alongside new allies who trust him more and repair his reputation. As the leader of his adventuring group, Naofumi's story feels real, proving that he is not a perfect hero, but a man who rises from pain with resilience, courage, and a heart that slowly heals. He proves that true strength is not just about blows, making this anime an inspiration for anyone who has ever felt underestimated. Thank you so much for watching until the end. We hope you enjoyed our anime list recommendations, and we would absolutely love it if you subscribe to our channel. Let me know in the comments below what you're looking forward to seeing next, or maybe discuss other anime that may have been related to these topics. Have a nice day, everyone. I'm signing out, and peace.